Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of the MCR Mac and Me. My name's TJ. I'd like to thank all our supporters on all the different platforms. Uh, and I do believe on Rumble, you got to look us up under MI Conservative Roundtable, all one word. So as we move on here, in the past, Mac and me, we've talked about what's going to happen between the states and the federal government. We've referenced a type of soft secession, uh, almost a state of cold civil war, given the entrenched positions of the progressives and us on the right. You know, uh, it, honestly, Mac, I feel like we're, when I say we're, us on the left, we're so far apart that there's no reaching across the aisle with these people. And
So we want to live as free people. They want a total global totalitarian state, and there is no compromise between us. Going to your point.
Yeah, and in regards to the cold civil war, the soft secession, I've speculated that at some point a state or group of states is going to get so fed up with the federal government that they're just going to say stagats, not here, and something like that has exactly begun in Texas, on the Mexican border, the Rio Grande River, and Governor Abbott has sent the Texas National Guard in and secured an area known as Eagle Pass in Shelby, Texas. And when I say secure it, I mean they're not letting federal agents into the area to process the illegals.
Good.
And
I say,
and which does involve them putting up razor wire and all that kind of stuff. And I guess there's some kind of a state park along the Rio Grande. I guess it's called Eagle Pass, and it sounds like it's a favorite spot for illegals to cross the Rio Grande. And Governor Abbott has had his fill of it, and I guess what amazes me is him using the National Guard and telling federal agents to take a hike. Your thoughts so far on this, Mac?
well, I got to wonder at what point is the federal government going to come in and try to impose their will on the state of Texas? When's that going to happen? And what's going to happen when that happens?
Yeah, well,
I mean, what? As far as I'm concerned, as a military person, that's an immoral order to attack another United States citizen in that fashion, to impose the will of the global Marxist.
Something that's happened since this began. I guess 3 illegals have drowned in the Rio Grande, and also there's a National Guardsman missing, and they fear he may have drowned because it. And I don't know if it was the same incident or a separate one, but I guess this one Texas National Guardsman was last seen attempting a rescue, and now he's missing.
Well, when you try to save a drowning person, it's very dangerous because they're drowning and they're fighting for their life. They tend to pull under the person who's trying to help them.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be at all surprised if that happened.
In a really weird sort of way, I've had mixed feelings about Governor Abbott, because I always got the feeling that he was in the Bush camp, I think. Or that's just how it sounded to me.
Well, I've always felt he was one of these guys. Let
You know
me
what? And I
let,
wouldn't.
let me see which way the wind's blowing, and I'll go that way.
And you know what?
Opportunist is the word I was thinking of.
I would concur with that. And maybe he's stuck his finger in the air and said, you know what? I need to do this. You know?
Well, he doesn't want the cartels running his state if they aren't already.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you know what? Now you're going to have to, in front of you, you're going to be fighting the cartels if you're a citizen of Texas. And behind you, you're going to be fighting the federal government.
Yeah. Uh, and you know, we've already kind of mentioned in previous segments how you know he had started busing people to cities like Chicago, New York, and either one or both of them were going to try and stop the buses. And he said, "Well, fine, I'll just fly them in," you know,
You know, you can
or
airdrop them in,
or they
give them a
would,
crash course and jumping out of an airplane and say, best of luck to you.
you know. Also, I think what they were considering doing was busing them to uh, urban train stations where they could very easily catch a train, you know, into the city, you know, because a lot of these cities have that kind of railway system. But uh, you know, I'm a little, in one way I'm surprised at all this, and in another way I'm not, because heck, we've been talking about it, you know.
Right.
And you know, I guess I guess I'm trying to figure out how to put this, but this plays to the 2024 election where, you know, I think they're going to try and do again what they did in 2020, and what happens then? You know, I mean, do more states tell the federal government to take a hike on this or that, or what? You know,
Right. Right.
and
And
and you
what do
know,
we people in the blue states do when Michigan sides with the federal government?
yeah, exactly.
I mean, this state,
Uh,
I get constantly get, and I want to clear this up for anybody who doesn't know better. Michigan is not run by Muslims. We have one city in this entire state that's Muslim controlled, if you will. And I don't know anything good or bad about these people other than that they're Muslims. And I don't think that in and of itself makes them bad people. And that's Highland Park, Michigan, a city that's about 2 square miles. So we're not run by Muslims. But what we are run by is Marxist lesbians.
yeah, yeah, big time. But oh, I got to tell you, I got a bad feeling uh, because this is more than just a Texas issue. And the reason why I mentioned the Texas situation is it you know, this could be an omen of things to come. You know?
Well, they're not going to stop in trying to get what they want, which is total domination, total control. That's what they want. They're not going to stop until they are stopped. And I would tell that is up to every man, woman, and perhaps children in this country to stop these people. And I believe that's what Governor Abbott's trying to do. He's trying to stop, maybe too late, the influx of these people coming into our country illegally to essentially become bums.
Well, you know,
We don't need more bums.
uh, Arizona's previous governor tried to do something similar, and uh, you know, when Obama was president, and uh, I can't remember her name right now off the top of my head, but uh, Obama got the courts to basically put her in her place because it was a female Republican governor.
Right.
And I guess from what I read in one news report, Biden's attempting to do the same thing with Abbott, but you know, I guess we'll see where this ends up.
This is why they want to stack the court, because this is how they operate. Take everything to the court, get your put in place judge to rule the way you want to, and then the law is imposed on you.
Uh,
They're using our system against us.
But and I mentioned in a previous segment, Chicago had a town hall, and some of the residents were irate that the city elected officials were taking care of the illegals at the expense of the legal residents, and it was, I don't know.
It becomes a what about us thing.
Yeah.
Eventually, like you see in Chicago and New York, black residents are having fit. In my opinion, when I hear these speeches, while I agree with much of what they say, all I'm really hearing is, hey, this money is for black people and only for black people. So these Mexicans need to get the hell out of here.
And you know what? In a perverse sort of way, it does appear to be a little poetic justice there.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what.
Don't steal I was thinking, the stuff I stole.
The man on the street, is finding out that whether they be Democrat or Republican, they are not operating in their constituents' best interest.
No, they're only in their own best interest. Known this for a long time.
Yeah. Well, the man on the street in Chicago or New York City or LA or wherever, they're finding this out the hard way,
Yes, they are.
So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's happening nevertheless. So as to where this is going to end up, man, who knows? I got a bad. I honestly have a bad feeling as to where we end up in all of this mess. But I keep saying prepare.
Live free or die.
Yeah, and keep your powder dry, and man, don't get caught flat-footed. Oh my goodness. Now is not the time to get caught flat-footed. That's for doggone.
Don't leave your home without the ability to defend yourself against anyone.
Yeah. So that's all I got for this one. Final thoughts there?
Nope. I've said what I've said, probably more than most people want to hear.
All right. Well, we'll call this one a wrap. Thanks everyone for your support, and we'll catch you in the next segment. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.